Alright, today I am atoning for my sins. I'm trying to redeem myself by making this video that a member requested a pretty long time ago, but you know what? Better now than never, right? And yeah, let's talk about Angela for a second. Now, Angela, I feel like, is a cosmic character that just refuses to be irrelevant, right? Because with her utility, I think she is honestly a borderline timeless character, because she does so much when she's awakened, and it's honestly a bit absurd. So yeah, I think Angela, like, as time progresses and like as you get natural dupes of this character, because I think while she does have a great awakened ability, there are better investments for your 7-star 6 stones, given how rare they are still at this point in the game. And yeah, like, I think as we get more copies of her, she's just going to get even better and better. But even a Sig 21 is still a pretty fantastic character. And yeah, Angela's like just a really cool character overall. Like, if you Google cosmic character, Angela pops up. And, you know, obviously she's a cosmic character, right? So that makes sense. But I feel like what the cosmic class is about, Angela just like embodies it perfectly. She has a ton of buffs. She has a way to stop armor ups with armor break. She counters auto block, and she also even parries non-contact hits. So yeah, this character just screams cosmic. Like, she is the poster child of being a cosmic character. But there's one trick up her sleeve, and it's the fact that she has this really crazy ability that lets her bypass pretty much any DOT. Now, after this fight, I'm going to show you it, but here is one more fight with this really goofy cosmic node. And she is perfect for it because she has a ton of buffs. She synergizes very well with the Odin pre-fights. And with Odin, it's not just the Odin pre-fights, it's also this one synergy where whenever you win a fight with Angela, you gain increased buff potency. So once you're at the final boss of a quest, she's going to hit really hard, right? The damage output's going to be honestly pretty insane. And with Angela, the worst part about her is the damage output. But here's the thing, the damage output is still very good. So this character just doesn't really feel that flawed. But here's what I'm talking about. Here is a showcase of Angela versus these DOT nodes. It's honestly really impressive, right? Like, she is just really good when it comes to stopping any DOT. So here we have this freezer burn node, and by the way, this like DOT reduction, it counts for any single DOT, like shock, incinerate, bleed, poison, rupture. What's another one that's like, is it just those 5? Am I forgetting one? Cold snap as well. Yeah, it's like all of them, right? However, there is one way to bypass it, and it is with any node that increases the duration of DOT effects. For example, debilitate, or what's the other one called? Extend. Yeah, those two really mess up Angela for sure. Deep wounds as well. But if your Angela is like really high sig and like you have like, you know, 8 buffs or something, like if she's a Sig 200 with like 8 buffs, she will just bypass anything, right? But with like a Sig 20, like I have in the video, I'm honestly reaching pretty hard with, like, you know, the Odin pre-fights and everything. But if you have her fully equipped, she's gonna be really good for these fights. But now we have this Wasp here, and this one's honestly not too shabby. Yeah, it's just like, she's honestly pretty basic when it comes to, like, you know, damage output, rotation, but she's just so effective, right? And I've always said this about champions in the game. I think sometimes it's better to be a bit basic, right? Because, like, let's say you're in a battleground scenario and there is a defender that is really, you know, annoying to deal with, and it requires like a specific, you know, sort of ability, right? Some characters will not be able to do it because, let's say, that champion's defensive capabilities, they interfere with like the attacking champion's like rotation. But with Angela, there isn't one, right? You just drop a special attack 1 and that's your rotation. That's it. It's as simple as that. And that's where like the ease of use really does factor in here, because she is able to take a ton of different fights because she doesn't really have to like focus on anything. She is just simply attacking the opponent. There's no extra stuff that can be messed up pretty easily. You are just hitting the opponent. So yeah, I think that's why like Angela's also just really, really good in that regard, because I think ease of use has, you know, pretty big value. But here we have this auto block node, and Angela, when she has the proper amount of buffs, bypasses auto block. Now here's why it's really good in this fight. It's because this fight has True Lies, and now what that does is it reduces True Strike, True Sense, what's the other one? True Strike, True Sense, True Accuracy, all those have minus 100% ability accuracy. However, Angela's is just a passive percentage reduction, so it's not a true anything, it is just a passive reduction. And that's really good because it bypasses nodes like this. It bypasses Penny Parker as well. You'll see that in a later fight later on in this video. It is a really, really good mechanic. So that's why I think she has a lot of value in that regard as well, because if there are champions or nodes that bypass the true buffs, Angela's gonna be your go-to person right after them, right? Of course, there's also Undermine and stuff, but I'll be honest, I think Angela is better than both of the Undermine characters. Okay, actually, maybe Vox is like a good debate, like on who's better. That's actually a really interesting one. I think they're both great champions, but who is better between the two? I think it's a tough one. I think they're both really, really good, but you know, Angela is just a really broken character when it comes to utility. Vox, like his ease of use is off the charts, obviously, but Angela just does so much. Like genuinely, she just does so much, and like most of the things that she does, she has access to it at the start of the fight, which is a massive, massive benefit for like literally any scenario. But yeah, here I dropped the SP2, a beautiful 38,000 crit, and yeah, this fight, it was so clean. It was an America Chavez too, which is honestly, you know, honestly a pretty good showcase of just like how versatile this character is. But yeah, here I go for an activation of a Fury buff. There I go for a intercept, but that failed miserably, so that's just amazing. And not the best start, but you know what, it'll pick up eventually. And here I'm cornered, which is fantastic, but I dropped the SP1 anyway. Does okay damage. I'll be honest, Angela is not known for her special attack damage, and I genuinely don't know why. Like, to be honest, I at first thought that like every character had the same special attack damage, but after seeing Angela's SP1, that's just not true, because her SP1 feels like the weakest in the game, but her SP2 is honestly pretty good. But yeah, something about that SP1, it's just really lackluster. But yeah, it's an odd one really. It's really odd. It just feels a bit like lesser than honestly any character, but that SP2 is still pretty nice. And the SP3 you'll see later on in this video is really, really nuts sometimes, especially if like there are nodes that give you extra buffs. But now it's time for some boss action. We have this Penny Parker fight, and yeah, Angela is a great Penny Parker counter because 1, she can bypass the auto block. 2, she just shreds through her block as well because of, like, you know, the massive Fury potency. Like right there, her block is being destroyed right now. It just took 1 combo into the block. That's it. So straightforward. So, like, easy to just, you know, destroy Penny Parker here. And yeah, here she's about to drop the SP2. You have to be careful because sometimes she just drops it out of nowhere and it like one-shots you, obviously. So yeah, pretty terrifying stuff. Here she tries to auto block, it does not work. Power burn does not trigger, and yeah, we're chilling. Here she drops it again. Like I said, very scary SP2. And the damage output's honestly just fantastic as well. Here we just break the shield very, very easily yet again. And yeah, this fight is about to be over very, very soon, because like this damage output is honestly just insane. It's really, really good stuff. We go back in, get a beautiful crit there, and yeah, 32,000 mediums, I believe. Really, really solid damage output. And yeah, that fight was just really, really fun. So that's Angela, like after a few fights with like the Odin synergy. I believe there is 6 fights per quest, and it's I think 5% potency per win. So yeah, it is 30% potency on the buffs, which is really, really good stuff. Now we have this Caltrops hood, and this one I knew I was going to take some bleed damage, but just 1 dex and that's it. We're good now. We have all the buffs we need. We are chilling, and yeah, now the damage output's just going to be really, really good afterwards. There I take a blocked hit, and with the prowess puncture node, it did hurt for sure, but it's okay. Like, we're still doing really, really strong damage. Yeah, that was honestly crazy, but you know, foresight did play a part into that combo. But even without foresight, the damage output is still really, really impressive. But yeah, here I go back in a second here, and you know, it's just really good damage, man. Because another thing to note here is that she does have the vigor buff active, and what this does is it increases all damage output, just straight up all damage. And with the Thor relic, you also get bonus aptitude, and you get bonus fury potency as well. So she just hits really hard with this relic, and the relic is literally the best for her. Like, it is tailor-made for Angela, I feel like, maybe Vox as well, but yeah, it is just a really, really good relic. And with Angela, she hits like a truck. That was a 22,000 light attack crit, and that was a very, very fast fight overall for being a boss fight. Now we have this biohazard Mcoc, and this one isn't too shabby at all. Same thing, just dash back, get the fury buff, and then yeah, we counter biohazard completely, and we should be chilling in a second. So we go in here, and yeah, no bleeds, no nothing. We are just good. We're just, you know, doing fantastic already. And that's what I'm talking about with like Angela with her utility. She has access to it immediately at the start of the fight, and that is like a timeless utility piece in my opinion. Like, for example, Gladiator, when he wasn't, you know, buffed, it took 2 bars of power to get to that vigilance, right? And that was just way too long. But with his buff, he gets it at the start of the fight, and that was a game changer. That made him like broken for Red Skull for so many different matchups because of the ability to have it at the start of the fight. And with Angela, like, imagine if you had to build up to 2 bars of power to gain, like, you know, the auto block resistance or something. She just wouldn't be nowhere near as used, right? And like the fact that she does have it at the start of the fight, it's honestly a game changer, and that's why I think she's so valuable as a character overall. But yeah, the mediums are hitting for crazy numbers, the light attacks as well, over 30,000 mediums. Like, this damage output is just silly. Like, it really is just like super silly. And yeah, now it's time for Eternity of Pain. Here we have this Havoc fight, and this one is a really fun one, to be honest. So let's see what we have here. This fight's really fun because it gives you a steadfast buff every 5 hits, right? And with Angela, on the SP3, she gains bonus attack rating per buff on her, and this doesn't just count for personal buffs, it counts for any buff in the game. So any external buff is gonna supercharge this character. And we gain these steadfast buffs pretty frequently at that. And not only that, with Havoc here, Angela is one of the better counters for him because she does have access to an armor up, and she gets access to it very, very easily, right? Because as soon as you drop a special attack, you go back to being at 0 bars of power, and that gives you the armor up, which is indefinite. So yeah, really strong Havoc counter, and her damage output is really good, and it's not like energy based, so yeah, she is good in that regard too. She is just, in my opinion, maybe the best non-tech Havoc counter, because, you know, tech characters kind of wallop this guy, but yeah, Angela is like just as good for Havoc. But yeah, here we go in, and we're doing some pretty nice crits, which, you know, are gimped because of Havoc's base ability, but here we drop the SP3, and it's just showtime. And yeah, this damage output for an SP3 is really, really good stuff. And yeah, that did a good chunk of damage. Here I go back in, drop a combo, and look at those crits. It's like it's guaranteed, man. That is so strong. And yeah, there we go. Now we have this Nick Fury fight, and this Nick Fury fight is a really, really cool one as well. And this showcases a very secret ability that Angela has. And it's a niche one. It's very, very niche, but it's also really, really good. And you're going to see in just a second on what I'm talking about. So this fight just starts off as per usual. It's a Nick Fury. We're just going to, try and manage the tactical charges as well as we can. And if he goes unblockable, then that's not good for us, And this also has this one node where if he drops a special attack and you have a debuff on you, it's gonna cost 0 power. So that is not good because this happens and it's not fun in the slightest, and he just keeps on doing it as well. But now he's power locked, so that's honestly pretty sweet because that is just free damage. So here we go in, and yeah, the crits are very, very nice. The SP1 isn't because that's how Angela works for some reason. But yeah, we're doing some great mediums now. Here I missed the intercept, which is fine. And he is just not playing ball, but then he drops CSP1, and that's not fun. That's not very nice, Nick Fury, but it's okay because here we go in, we drop the relic, and yeah, now we're like back in control pretty much. Here he drops CSP2 in a second. Does he? Yes, he does. And yeah, we're back to just chilling, and the damage output, like I said, with it's crazy how the worst thing about this character is the damage output, yet it's still really, really impressive. I feel like for like a 7-star champion, this is good damage, and it's not even rank 3, it's just rank 2, which is of course pretty strong, but it's really good, given that her utility is some of the best in the cosmic class. But yeah, here he drops a heavy attack, no big deal. But now it's time for the big thing that I'm talking about here. So check this out, he's gonna drop the SP2, he's power locked, and here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna keep on critting, we're gonna do some great damage. He's gonna go into second life right now. I dropped the SP2, it heal blocks him because of despair, and now his second life was just cancelled out. How sweet is that? And then yeah, the fight's just over after this. That's so good. That is honestly incredible stuff. And yeah, she is honestly one of the better Nick Fury counters because of that reason, because of that heal block. It is just so reliable, and it's also very easy to do as well. So yeah, really, really strong Nick Fury counter. Just drop a special attack and then he is just in the bin completely. It's really sweet. But now we have this Doramu fight, and this one is pretty fun. It's buffed up, so Angela just kind of counters it automatically, and it's it's a bit annoying, but Angela does deal with it kind of well because she's always doing damage to him at least. Here we drop another SP1, and yeah, the damage output against this Doramu is still pretty good. The degen is carrying us for sure, but even our regular crits are still very, very solid, right? Because Angela just always does good damage, so yeah, it's expected of her. But here we go back in. The crits are not critting just yet, but once we get going, it'll be very, very sweet. Here we drop another SP1, and yeah, we got some more Fury buffs going. Here he drops the SP2, and we're honestly dealing with this fight pretty well, especially because whenever Angela takes a certain percent of damage, she gains a regen buff. So she's neutralizing the degen in that regard as well. So she is honestly really good for this fight since she always has that regen to top her up a little bit. I think it's for every 10% lost, you regen I think 6% back. So it's honestly pretty sweet. It does, play a factor into her kit for sure. And especially in incursions or anything that has a ton of fights, it makes her a very solid quester for that reason. But yeah, the medium crits are now really, really solid, and this fight's about to be over because yeah, Doramu just he's kind of melting at this point. But we have to be out one more SP2 probably, which we do, and yeah, this should be the final moments of this fight. Just gotta get one more degen on him probably, which we do right here, and yeah, it does some pretty good damage, and we go back in a second, get a combo going into the relic hit, and yeah, that should do it. So Angela is honestly a very, very good character, right? She has some of the best cosmic utility in the game. She has every cosmic trope that you want. She's very easy to play. She's honestly just a pretty solid damage dealer too. She kind of just does everything really. So let me know your thoughts on Angela, and yeah, that's about it for me.